How much money should you really have by the time you turn 30? Most people have no idea. And when they finally do the math, they get shocked. Because there's a simple formula used by financial planners around the world. A formula that quietly reveals if you're ahead, behind, or right on track. It doesn't care how much you earn, it cares how much you keep and how well you use time. So, before you compare yourself to anyone online, let's do something better. Let's calculate how much you should have at your age and what to do if you're not there yet. Because understanding where you stand today is the first step to building real freedom tomorrow. Stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll know your ideal net worth and the mindset that actually gets you there. Let's start with a question everyone avoids. How much should you have saved by now? There's a formula for that, and it's simpler than you think. It's called the ideal net worth formula, and it's used by planners from New York to London. It takes three things into account: your cost of living, your age, and your saving rate. First, your cost of living. That means everything you spend in a month to live your normal life. Not just rent, groceries, and bills, but also the little things that make life enjoyable. Trips, dining out, streaming subscriptions, weekend hobbies, all of it counts. Once you know that number, multiply it by 12 to find your yearly cost of living. Second, your age. Time is the single most powerful factor in building wealth. The younger you start, the more time compound interest has to work for you. The older you are, the more discipline and consistency you'll need to make up for lost time. And finally, your saving rate. That's the percentage of your income you actually save every month. In the US, the average saving rate floats between 10 and 15%. But if you can save 20 or 30%, you'll accelerate your path to freedom faster than most people ever will. Because in the beginning, your savings matter more than your returns. Every dollar you save early becomes a silent employee that works for you for decades. Put these three together: your annual expenses, your age, and your saving rate, and you get your ideal net worth. A snapshot of where your money should be right now. It's not a judgment, it's a mirror. And knowing the reflection is what lets you finally take control. Let's make this real. Meet Emily. She's 30 years old, living in Austin, Texas. She earns $70,000 a year and spends about $4,000 a month to live comfortably. That includes rent, groceries, health insurance, going out on weekends, and a short vacation or two each year. Now, remember, we're not talking about her salary. We're talking about what it costs her to live. Her lifestyle number. So, $4,000 a month means $48,000 a year in expenses. That's her annual cost of living. Now, multiply that by her age, 30. That gives us $1.44 million. Next, we apply her savings rate. Let's assume she saves 10% of her income. So we take 1.44 million times 0.1. That's $144,000. That's the amount she should have saved or invested by age 30 to be on track. If she's a stronger saver, say 15%, that number jumps to $216,000. This isn't a rule carved in stone. It's a reference point, a map of where she stands today. If Emily has $80,000 saved, she's behind. If she's sitting around $150,000, she's right on track. If she's already above $200,000, she's ahead of schedule. This formula doesn't judge you. It simply reveals your position on the path. It shows whether you need to push harder, maintain your pace, or simply stay consistent. Most people never do this math, and that's why most people drift. They don't know where they stand. Once you see your number, you stop comparing yourself to everyone else, because your target becomes personal, tied to your lifestyle, not someone else's highlight reel. And that clarity changes everything. Now that you've seen the math, here's what it really means. This number isn't a grade. It's a snapshot. It doesn't tell you who's winning. It tells you where you are. If you're behind, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you now have a target, a point to aim for. If you're on track, it means your discipline is working. And if you're ahead, it's proof that consistency compounds faster than luck. Money milestones are often misunderstood. They're not competitions. They're coordinates. They help you see your position on the financial map, because when you know your coordinates, you can finally plan your route. Most people don't even have a map. They just work, Spend, repeat, hoping things will somehow get better. That's why awareness is such a powerful first step. It turns your finances from something emotional into something measurable. And what's measurable becomes manageable. When you can see your progress, you start feeling in control. You stop thinking in terms of rich or poor. You start thinking in terms of direction. Am I moving forward or standing still? That simple question shifts everything, because wealth isn't built in a single leap. It's built by steady calibration. Each year you refine your habits, your spending, and your goals. And those small adjustments, repeated over time, do what luck never will. They compound. And compounding is what quietly separates the dreamers from the builders. So don't obsess over where you should be. Focus on never staying where you were. Let's look at another example. Michael. He's 35 years old, married, and has 2 kids. He lives in Chicago, where life isn't cheap. Between rent, daycare, healthcare, groceries, and transportation, his monthly cost of living is about $6,000. That means $72,000 a year just to maintain his family's lifestyle. Now, let's apply the same formula. We take his annual expenses, $72,000, and multiply them by his age, 35. That gives us $2.52 million. Next, we apply his savings rate. If Michael saves 10% of his income, his ideal net worth today would be $252,000. If he's able to save 15%, that number rises to $378,000. This shows exactly where he stands on his path to financial independence. If he's far below that number, it's not a reason to panic. It's a wake-up call. It means he needs to either save more, earn more, or both. If he's close, he's right where he needs to be. And if he's above, he's moving faster than most people ever will. This simple framework removes the emotion from money. It replaces anxiety with clarity, because numbers don't lie. They just reflect habits, and habits can be changed. Michael's example proves that family life doesn't have to stop you from building wealth. It just means your strategy needs structure. You can't rely on luck or leftovers anymore. You have to make your savings intentional, automated, protected, and consistent. That's how real freedom is built. Not through big wins, but through small disciplines done relentlessly. The formula doesn't care about your story. It rewards your structure. Now that we know how much you should have, let's talk about how much you actually need to be free. Financial freedom isn't about quitting your job tomorrow. It's about reaching the point where your investments pay your living expenses without you having to work for them. To find that number, we'll use a simple formula. Take your annual expenses and divide them by your expected annual return. That's your financial independence number. Let's go back to Emily. She spends $48,000 a year. If her investments earn an average of 10% per year, she divides $48,000 by 0.10. That gives her $480,000. With that amount invested at 10%, she could generate $48,000 in passive income, enough to cover her lifestyle. But what if her return is lower, say 6%? Then the number jumps to $800,000. And if she only earns 4%, the classic FIRE rule, she'd need $1.2 million invested. See how that works? The lower your returns, the larger your nest egg must be. It's simple math. But it reveals something powerful. Wealth isn't just about how much you save, it's also about how efficiently your money works for you. That's why understanding realistic returns matters more than chasing lucky breaks. Because freedom doesn't come from guessing, it comes from planning. Once you know your independence number, you stop wondering how much is enough. You can see it, and once you can see it, you can build toward it. It's no longer a dream, it's a target. And targets can be hit. Now, before you celebrate those numbers, there's one more factor that changes everything. Inflation. Inflation is the silent tax that eats your progress while you sleep. You might think you're earning 8% a year, but if prices rise 4%, your real return is only 4%. And that 4% determines whether your money is growing or quietly melting away. Think of it like an ice cube on a warm day. It looks solid at first, but every minute a little more disappears. That's exactly what happens to your purchasing power over time. So when you calculate your financial independence number, you can't ignore inflation. You have to think in real returns, not just nominal ones. If your portfolio grows 8%, but inflation is 3%, your real growth is 5%. That's the number that actually matters. In the US, inflation usually averages around 2 to 3%. But when it spikes, like it did in 2022, the difference can erase years of progress. That's why smart investors build portfolios designed to outpace inflation, not just match it. They use assets that hold purchasing power through time, like index funds, real estate, and TIPS. Because every dollar that doesn't grow faster than prices is quietly losing value. It might still be there in your account, but it buys less every single year. That's the cruel illusion of nominal wealth. Your balance goes up, but your power goes down. And that's why understanding inflation isn't optional. It's survival. The moment you start thinking in real terms, your entire financial strategy shifts. You stop chasing high returns and start protecting real growth. You realize wealth isn't about how much money you see. It's about how much life that money can still buy. Because in the end, numbers don't define freedom. Purchasing power does. And inflation is the invisible hand that decides who truly keeps it. So, what can you do if you realize you're behind? The first step isn't about investing, it's about adjusting your lifestyle. Because no investment can save someone who spends everything they make. This is where most people lose the game before it even starts. They confuse living well with spending more. But freedom doesn't come from upgrades. It comes from margin. Margin is the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That space is where wealth grows. And the only way to create it is to live slightly below your potential. Not miserably, not deprived, just below your limits. If you make $6,000 a month, don't live like you make 6. Live like you make 4 and invest the difference. That small gap becomes the engine that drives everything else. The richest people aren't the ones who buy the most. They're the ones who need the least, because needing less gives you options, and options are the real luxury money buys. Here's a trick that completely changes how you see spending. Before you buy anything, convert it into hours of your life. If you earn $25 an hour, that $1,000 phone costs you 40 hours, an entire week of work. A $200 dinner, 8 hours of your time. When you see purchases as slices of your life, impulsive spending feels different. Because you're not trading money, you're trading time. And time is the only thing you can't earn back. Every dollar saved is time returned. Every investment is a small act of buying freedom. Over time, that freedom compounds, just like your money does. And that's the moment you stop chasing lifestyle and start designing it. Now, let's talk about the biggest leak in most people's financial bucket: debt. Debt is what happens when you borrow tomorrow's comfort to pay for today's impulse. And in America, it's almost a way of life. Credit cards, car loans, student loans, buy now, pay later. It's everywhere. But here's the hard truth. You can't build wealth while paying interest at 20% a year, because debt uses compound interest against you. You're filling a bucket that's leaking from the bottom. No matter how fast you pour, it keeps draining, and eventually you get tired before the bucket ever fills. That's why debt keeps people stuck in the same cycle, working harder but never feeling ahead. Even small debts can grow into monsters if ignored long enough. If you're paying $200 in interest every month, that's $200 not building your freedom. It's not helping you. It's feeding the system that keeps you dependent. So before you think about investing, you have to stop the bleeding. Pay off high-interest debt first, especially credit cards and personal loans. Those rates often climb above 20%, and no safe investment can beat that. Once you kill that debt, your money finally starts working for you, not against you. Because here's the paradox. Debt gives the illusion of progress. You get the car, the phone, the lifestyle, but it's all borrowed time. And when the bill comes due, freedom disappears. Debt is just future money you've already spent. It steals from your next paycheck before you've even earned it. And until you close that hole, no amount of investing will save you. Wealth is built on ownership, not obligation. So the first real investment you ever make is paying what you owe. Because once the chains are gone, every dollar you earn finally belongs to you. And that's when you start building, not surviving. Once your lifestyle is under control and your debts are gone, it's time to invest. Not someday, today. Because every year you wait is a year you can't get back. Investing isn't about timing the market. It's about giving your money enough time in the market. The sooner you start, the less you have to contribute later. That's the magic of compounding. Time turns small actions into massive results, but you have to flip the order most people live by. Don't save what's left after spending. Spend what's left after saving. The first payment every month should go to your future self. Set up automatic transfers the day your paycheck hits. Because if you wait until the end of the month, there's rarely anything left. This is how the wealthy quietly build their fortunes. They treat investing like a bill that must be paid. Except this one pays you back. And it doesn't take much to start. Even a few $100s a month invested consistently can grow into something powerful. The point isn't how much you start with, it's that you start. Because compounding doesn't work on money you plan to invest. It works on money that's already there. And every month you delay, the future version of you loses another month of growth. You can't recover lost time, but you can protect the time you still have. Investing isn't an event. It's a system that runs quietly month after month while you live your life. One that buys you freedom, not just returns. And once it's in motion, momentum does the rest. So what if your number feels impossible right now? What if you're 30, 35, or even 40 and nowhere close to where you should be? Here's the truth. That gap isn't permanent. You can close it, but not by cutting coffee or skipping lunch. There's a limit to how much you can cut. There's no limit to how much you can earn. That's where your focus needs to shift. Because wealth isn't built by extreme frugality. It's built by expansion. You can only save what you make. So the real leverage comes from increasing income. And today, that's more possible than ever. For the first time in history, the internet has leveled the field. Anyone can build something, sell something, or teach something online. You don't need permission. You just need consistency and skill. From digital products to freelance work to content to small side businesses, opportunity is everywhere. And when you combine that with smart investing, the effect multiplies. You earn more, save more, and compound faster. That's how you catch up, not with luck, but with structure. And if you start small and stay consistent, growth becomes exponential because progress doesn't reward perfection, it rewards persistence. Even an extra few $100s a month invested over time changes the entire equation. The goal isn't to get rich overnight, it's to become unshakable over time. So instead of comparing yourself to where others are, compare yourself to where you were. Every small move forward closes the gap between your reality and your potential. And one day, you'll look back and realize you've built the life others are still calculating. If this video helped you see money differently, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps this channel reach more people who are quietly building, just like you. Leave a comment and share where you are on your journey. Your story might inspire someone else to start, because wealth isn't a race against others. It's a system you build for yourself. Every dollar you save today is a silent worker that never clocks out. Every habit you build is a vote for the person you're becoming. And every small decision, every quiet, consistent move compounds into freedom over time. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. Because the real goal isn't to have more money. It's to have more control over your time, your choices, and your peace of mind. That's what wealth truly is. And if you start today, your future self will thank you, silently, but profoundly.